All right, ladies and gentlemen, traders, welcome back to another Relentless recap. What a day, guys. It was a great day in the market, so we did have a lot of action in a small cap land. Now, of course, on the contrary, we did have large caps tank a lot due to the tariff talks. If I switch screens here, you guys know there's a little bit of turbulence right now when it comes to the tariffs. And so the entire market here, the SPY, has been pulling back. In fact, if my E-Trade account wasn't exited, I would have showed you guys the position that I'm building here in the SPY. I'm a young guy. I believe in the economy here in the USA. I believe in the SPY. And so, stuff like this for me is just a kid in the candy store. When I see this type of drop, and if this is to keep going down more into levels, where the market can even get halted down, I'm so ready to just buy my life savings, take out loans, and even buy because, again, I'm just so young. I'm so young. I have so much time, even if it takes a year, two, five, 10 for us to recover and then get to new highs and to new highs. By the time I'm 80 years old, 60 years old, 50 years old, 40, we should be looking pretty good, right? Because the stock market was made to go up. And in these trial times is the perfect time for someone like myself to get more vested, right? But anyhow, we're here for small caps, not too much of the large cap stock. As you guys can see, I'm down. If I am to adjust this order entry here, I'm down 400 bucks. Relentless. You have this great strategy, this hyper scalping style. You're following your rules. You start off the day slow. You take it easy. How in the world did you manage to lose money? You know what? Today we're just going to look straight at a live trading recording here. Very, very frustrating day. AREB continuation names, one of our top stocks, looking good, moving well, up 100%, 6 million shares of volume. Sometimes I wonder, the market definitely makes me question things from time to time. And there's definitely stress, right? Because it's not this smooth linear journey, right? A lot of our trading, in fact, can mimic a stock graph, right? We're not necessarily going straight up like this. Instead, for most traders, you're getting something like this, right? Almost like a stock chart. Sometimes you'll even go sideways and then up, and then other times you'll even, have a drawdown and then you go up and so forth and so forth. And usually the areas where it's a little bit bigger in between is sometimes a bit of a bigger green day, right? So there's definitely a little bit of stress from time to time when it comes to you showing up doing the things you're supposed to do, and at times you don't get rewarded, right? Which is why this field a lot of the times is different from any other career, is because you can show up here and do everything you're supposed to do and you can still lose, right? So hence our disclaimer. That's why day trading is risky, right? Day trading is risky. It takes time to learn, it takes time to become experienced, especially if you're new. Do not be aggressive right away, but instead take it slow, become experienced, and then go from there, right? So stock AREB, stock ICCT, these were some of the hotter stocks that we had. I really and truly want to focus on AREB. ICCT, I believe, yeah, actually, hold on, let's look at this one here. So a little frustrating out of this halt resumption. You guys are going to see here, the stock is halted up at 583, and I'm going to look for an old-fashioned pullback and then the curl up. And I'm going to absolutely get blazed in here. Let's watch it back. I think in the moment, I got a little fake out thinking the pullback was going to be tight and that the stock was going to just rip immediately. It's so funny because just I think yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, there's a great resumption and it dips off the resumption 10 cents. It's a stock at $10 as well. It dips 10 cents, 15 cents, gives about 3 seconds for the entry. And I'm like, man, this dip is just not big enough. And then the stock rips up 60, 70 cents. And, in that moment, I felt like, man, like I was being too patient. And so here, it's why you have to be consistent with just doing one thing, because then it saves you from going insane, right? Which is what's going to happen to me here, because now, that is kind of in the back of my head that I missed that trade because I wasn't active enough on the resumption. And so right here, this thing is going to give a small little pullback here, 85. And right here, I thought break of six is going to happen immediately. This thing is going to go to 620, 630, 640. But the moment I'm buying the real dip, if I was patient like how I should have been, to stick to my guns and be consistent. You guys can see we got over six here for a little bit, but if I was really supposed to stick to my guns and be patient, I would not have gotten caught here. And you can see, I tried selling 85, but I'm gonna get filled down here at 50 at 65, and then here's where I should have probably been looking to get in at the half. As we know, the $0.50 is a lot of times a big support zone. Man, just tough. Because I'm taking the loss coming down. This has been a thing for me in like my trading that I think I need to really keep working to get better at, is buying even after I take the loss. Because I could have still bought back right there at the $0.50 area, maybe 58, but just a little too, again, now I'm being a little bit more patient. Like, okay, we just took a loss. Let's just make sure this thing is bottomed out. But again, a little too much confirmation there, looking for that. And this thing is then 30 seconds later, we're at 89, and then another 30 seconds, we're at 6, and then another 30 seconds. So a minute and a half later, we're at 42. And I did a pretty poor job over 6. I did a pretty poor job over 6. The moment this thing got over 6, man, the moment it got over 6, right in this moment here that it got over 6, I should have took the trade right here. Right here, I should have just jumped in. I should have just jumped in right here to just, tight stop, breakout or bailout kind of thing. Hey, I'm in here, 04, 03, couple of cents stop, because it's going to teleport right here. It's going to teleport over 10. Look at this. 14, once it gets to 13, 14, teleportation. Boom. It is so simple, but yet so tricky at the same time. And it's been a while since I've had like this much inconsistency in my trading. Now, granted, we did have the 2 weeks where we kind of tried holding a little longer, so that did contribute to it. But even before then, early March, we had some difficulties on other stocks. You know, even in the past where I would have issues, it's at least at like a 60% clip we're doing well, and the other 40% of the times we're having trouble. Versus this last month, it feels like 60% of the times I'm messing up, and 40% of the times I'm capturing the move. So, but as we can see, the opportunity is there for the taking. So I over time I fought my way back valiantly, slowly but surely. Caught a couple of key trades, and being down 1K wasn't a problem, but the issue was, I think I was a little too passive. I needed to be more aggressive, because at this point I'm looking for real good quality setups, and having more fierceness, being more feisty, towards levels like break of 6 would have put me in a better position. And sometimes if you avoid that loss, maybe you're being that more aggressive version of yourself in those areas like that, right? So stock ends up going up. I think we get up to we did fairly okay, but we should have done better. We did okay in the grindy areas, but the best trades we missed, right? So like all this chop and consolidation, there were key levels that I was just a little reluctant to buy. I think fair is another factor here. Like there's like one day alone this year where I can recall me buying pullbacks simply because the level 2 told me to buy there, which is the definition of me being reactive, versus days like today where it's like maybe I saw a trade 10 times at a level and took it once. It's just pretty bad. It's like throughout that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, even if we're just getting 10 cents, which in the stock was giving like 15, 30 cents, even if we're just getting 10 cents 5 times, that's 50 cents, 3,500 shares, it's over $1,500, right? So, fear still playing a factor. And honestly, I don't think it's the share size. I think it's just the cautiousness that I'm trading with. Even if I'm using 2,000, 1,000, 1,500, I think it'll be the same. So we grinded our way up to 1,200 here. And by the way, massive flush out below support. And this thing ended up doing a massive red to green here. I believe, did we get halted down? I don't think so. Not yet. So that was ICCT, in a better trading day where we capture the moves properly on the resumptions early, the whole dollar, half dollar trades, and all the dips. I think at least 4 or 5K on this one. And we were grateful for the 1K that we got. But then here comes disaster, right? So this one sold off, and it was time to look at the next stock of the day, which happened to be AREB. And I did have some trades off screen, but man, did I get obliterated. I got obliterated trading this thing, man. And perhaps maybe you can see 1,500 shares. Maybe I needed to size down. In fact, I had 800 shares on a different order entry. Maybe I needed to size down even more, even sooner. But just could not get a grip on this stock. So as you guys can see, pattern wise, we had, I mean, it's textbook, right? So pattern wise, there's a red to green here. So we sold off. We had a small bear flag here. Remember our bull flag, if you picture your country's flag, the stars and stripes here. We had a bear flag, which is the opposite of that, right? So stock comes down. We get a consolidation here. We have a range. It's always the same. Are we going to go up or are we going to go down? And I think I need to come back to the basics. Just simplify my trading a little bit more. Stop all the overthinking and just trade the range, man. Take the levels as they come. So once this breaks down here, it looks like we're going to go lower, but then it does this bit of a bear trap and does a V-shape red to green. So right back above these support zones, if I'm watching, areas like this, I'm probably going to be watching to take a trade or two. The high of the resistance, it pushes right through. And then we get a small consolidation. I did see the stock right here. Right before the breakout, I saw this stock. And, I think I needed to give it more attention. Initially, I'm like, okay, it's below VWAP, but I didn't look at the range here to be in early. And so as a result, I miss this big move because this just teleported up, halted up, and then the halt resumption. Yeah, I mean just insanity. We didn't really get a dip. It opened up and just ripped, and then we had the pullback. And so this is all the way up to like $9 already. Being that I saw the stock as this candle was basically opening, I should have positioned myself. I should have been able to position myself with the experience, and I think it's just a lack of focus and understanding the severity and the criticalness of where we are in the chart. And it's like, hey, I kind of more so looked at it as like, hey, we're having resistance here. I can lollygag, take time to do whatever, and then look back in a second. But we don't know that, right? The stock could just be ready to go. And so I have to already be watching here to see where it can be in to then position myself for a potential breakout. So wrong, bang, wrong, 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 and then wrong again. The resumption trade a little bit more tough, so that's fine. It just, kind of went. And I don't believe I have the resumption on here because the other stock was still moving. I think the other stock, yeah, I traded it off screen because ICCT was still somewhat in play. And, whenever a stock goes up this high, it does get a little bit more tricky because, we went from 650 here, if we could do some dotted lines, 650 up to about 880 almost. A lot of the times right here is difficult to get in because then, we're extended, how big is this pullback going to be? Okay, so we stopped out here, was this like 804, eight at the whole dollar? But a lot of times we can dip down some more. But kid you guys not, the moment, I mean, this sounds so silly to be saying this stuff. I'm watching the stock closely here because I know there might be an entry. And then I'm like, okay, let's get everything sorted out on the main screen, which would be this screen down here. And I pull it up like this, basically the equivalent of doing this. I think it might have been up, but the equivalent of just zooming in and then having the 5 minute chart be in focus as well, because I'll need these tools eventually, right? As the stock keeps going. Take 2 seconds to do that. Look back up. I look back up to level 2, and the stock has already went from 840 right here down to 8, back to 838 within a second or two. And like in that moment, I just was like, yep, of course. I basically said on the stream, of course, yep, yep. That's kind of my reaction to it. It's like, of course, I look away, and because we held up and so quickly and bounced back so quickly, it's a high chance this thing just goes, and that's exactly what happened. It just went, and then I miss the second big entry in this area here. So missed this one, missed the halt resumption because it was just straight up, and then missing the third trade again over here. These three trades, depending on share size. So let's just go off the 1,500 shares I had initially, right? Because I think I sized down after losing on my first two trades or so. I went from 15 down to 800, or maybe from 2K down to 800. I can't tell for sure. Let's see, AREB. Okay, we had 1,500 to start, so we went from 1,500 to 800. With just 1,500 shares, if I'm capturing break of about 660 here, and we can pull up the chart to get the exact levels, right? Let's come back down. The time there was around like 10 a.m. So around 10 a.m. So break of VWAP, this went from 52 to 727. 652 to 727. You can do the math in there, right? There's 48 cents to 7 plus an extra 27 cents over the whole dollar, right? So almost 80 cents, plus or minus 80 cents. If we put all our calculator here and we do 1,500 shares, and I don't even calculate, I don't calculate capturing the entire move. So even if we calculate for 55 cents, right, times 0.55, with just 1,500 shares, there's $824 in just the first green candle here. And there are days where we get more of a setup for the resumption. And then, again, the dip and rip. This one didn't quite give it clean. It just went. And, something to keep in mind in these setups is that high of day at the time was in range. The pre-market highs were in range. But, we still wanted something there. A bit of a tough resumption. And, if you miss this pullback, it's kind of clips, man. Because then it gets extended and you're just not in it. And so I waited patiently, and I did have great intuition here. Great intuition about this pullback holding up. One, because when we dipped, the volume on the 5 minute chart, the 5 minute candlestick right here, was fairly low. Our volume going up right here versus our volume coming down. Granted, we did get halted, so the full 5 minute duration didn't get to go through. But if we zoom out on the 1 minute, it just felt fair for the stock to have a bit of a pullback here, man. And we pulled back nicely into some previous support levels on the daily chart. And I did take a position down here at 780, but I sold it up at 90, thinking we weren't gonna have an immediate strong move. And so I was out early. It ended up going all the way to 77. So I'm in at 80. I think I might have sold above 9. So we can check the log here, 1018. Let's check the log. I think I might have sold above the whole dollar. 1018 right here. So I'm in. So yeah, okay. So I sold at 810. This is not a bad trade. Almost 40 cents. I can't complain. my in terms of expectations of it going back to the highs, I had that expectation, but I thought there would be more range, more consolidation, because we priced in our high point, I think initially at 820 right here. So I'm looking at this like, hey, I'm in, I'm gonna sell, wait, get back in again, ranks repeat, and so forth and so forth. But instead, it just went. And right here is where I went red. I'm like, hey, high of day is coming. I'm gonna be aggressive, scalping this pullback, scalping this range, looking for the new high. And I got chopped alive. And what really pushed me over the edge in terms of frustration was I started getting pretty bad fills. So let's get rid of these up here. I started getting some pretty rough fills, man. I think like before this move here, I was trying to buy over 40. I think, let's see, it might have happened already. It's hard to tell. I can't remember exactly all the areas. I was trying to buy over 40 at one point. Let's see. So we had the halt down. Okay, hold up, hold up. I think this is the trade that really frustrate me the most. So high of days at 940, 950. I think it's going to get up to these levels and I'm going to take the entry here. And, looking back at it, of course, and I'm on the wrong screen here. Looking back at this trade here, hold up, let me rewind. Of course, it was fair game. It was fair. There was a bid there as well. So look at this from 916. It's going to push up. I needed to be quicker. I needed to be more decisive here. I think there's a small bid somewhere in here. But okay, this is why my frustration is going to come though, right? It is fair. Maybe I needed to be quicker, but look at what's going on right here. My order is already, even before this populates, my order has already been sent. And look at this spread, 41 by 44. At worst case, I should be filled 50, 55. At worst case. And look at what's going to happen. They fill me 68. And look at how long it's taking to populate. Like, if I try to sell here, I'm going to get an error code of a message saying, hey, you're basically trying to sell too soon. And it's like, it's my edge is gone. I'm looking for a quick trade from 40 to over half dollar. I have no edge here because one, my fill is slow, so I can't take profits getting out, and then two, my fill is slow. I can't get out break even or at least for a fair, a fair trade. And then just like that, it's halting up. It's gonna be a false halt. I'm now getting filled 60. How am I now getting filled? So by the time by the time I'm filled, it's like I'm filled 68 and the stock is at 45 again, man. So right here, I take the loss. I tried to see if it was gonna bounce, but really and truly should have sold it instantly. I tried to see if it was gonna retest the halt level, go higher, and right here it's like this is what's like frustrating me because it's like I'm doing everything right and this happens. And so what's even worse than this, out of frustration, so on the day right now, I've dropped back to flat from up over 1K. I'm back to flat. Fine. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shut it down. So at this point, I'm up $60. The stock went. This made me even more frustrated because after that loss, remember I just mentioned I tried holding that position a little longer to see if it would get back to the new halt level. Here it is right here. So seeing that is like a slap in the face. And so I ended the day on the live stream up $63. Now you're gonna say, Relentless, well, how did you go red? You guys are not gonna believe this madness of a trade, right? Let's see. This one right here. So the stock continued up a little higher. This is at 1034. At 1034, right? Stock continues up a little higher. And let's see. So right, hold up, 34. So okay, we had the resumption. Okay, no, no, it had a halt down. So okay, the stock continued up a little higher over 1050 to then 1137, and then we had a nice pullback from 1137 down to 1060. I'm in nicely, and not only am I in nicely, I noticed the stock is having some issues to bounce. It's like moved up a little bit. I'm like, okay, like we had, I think we had, I wish I was recording this. I wish I was recording. I think we had like 85 on the ask, and I sold. I already, like, I sold so long that like I should have already been out of the trade. And then, similar to the example we saw, but even worse, it was worse lag. It's like I sold, looked over, like I sold and looked over to the chat, and then in the side of my eye, I noticed the stock flushed down. And then I looked back over and saw that I was now filled at the bottom of the flush, or close to the bottom of the flush, anyways. And out of 17, the low was 64. One, thankfully, I had 1,000 shares only. And then two, bro, I almost just kicked down everything. I have all these monitors in front of me. I almost just lift everything out and throw it out the window or something because when, how? So, you know, I'm going over my trades here, and you know, it's a decent day. It's not a time to panic. It's not time to be upset or anything. This is part of the deal. So, we still have to be grateful here. I think the biggest takeaway is that trading can be frustrating at times. It can be stressful at times. And it's strange that my fuse, I don't know if this is true, but I'd like to think my fuse is a little shorter than it used to be. Now, I'm still doing the right thing, which is to just walk away when I get upset. I'll X out the platform, but my fuse is not as long as it used to be, and I don't think it's a good thing because if we zoom out here, stock ended up going to $20. The stock made a high of 21, and because I got so mad, I walked away all the way here. Now, was the rest of the move going to be easy? The answer is no. But because of my emotions, I didn't give myself a proper chance. My longevity, and there's people in the comments that says like, traded one share, just keep going one share size. I think it's another level of mental discipline to do something like that. It's another level of composure, because for me, when I get into that mindset, I need to leave because it's like nothing. It seems like just nothing good will come with the level of emotions that I have in those times. And it reminds me of gaming. Maybe it's a habit that I got from gaming where if there's too much lag, or if it's just not good gameplay at all, like I'll just leave the match and then find a new match, come back to a new stock, a new day. But I think ultimately the better version of myself would have stuck it through, even if I had to take a 2 3 minute walk, come back. The better version of myself would have stuck around longer. And in the past, that's what I would do, and find a way with small size down to 300 shares, regain a good rhythm. You know, before you hit 2 3 trades, you size back up, boom 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 boom, just like that. Up a couple thousand. I need to I need to continue to work on myself mentally. I think I have to continue to game plan. I have to run more simulations through my mind of not just winning days, winning trades and things going well, but I have to run more simulations through my mind of things going terrible, I think. That way, because your mind is powerful. I don't even need to experience the day per se to just visualize what could go wrong based off of experience, and then having more of a temperament, more of a game plan of how to manage myself in those moments, because if you're not a good manager, we're just gonna lose money, right? That's just the reality of what we're doing here. So another day of me feeling like I should have done well, but the results are not there on screen. So, work to be done, and it's fine to have a red day or so, but we're definitely looking forward to some more consistency. So coming in on Monday, I think I need to really think a little deeper here this weekend and print out a full personalized game plan and just include some variables. Something that I definitely want to do more of is to trade longer, but there are conflicts of interest at times, which can be a problem. Whether it's something personal like appointments, doctor appointments, dentist appointments, and the trove of things that seems to just never stop, or business things. This upcoming week, for example, I'm gonna be recording success stories, which more than likely I'll be doing between 12 p.m. and 3:50 p.m. market time. So, I'll have to be done by 12 p.m., right? To then get into that type of content and the recording and, X, Y, and Z. So there is no complaining. There is no, dodging accountability here. At the end of the day, we have to be accountable for ourselves, our performance, our emotions. We have to be accountable. We have to also use the information in front of us to improve. And so we'll study the film over the weekend and we'll look to come back better for Monday. The work life balance, the trading slash business life balance. At the end of the day, I am the one who acts for all these things, to be a mentor, to be a teacher. So, I have to continue to work on finding that great balance so that I can, lock in on the markets and still get it done trading wise. Well, business wise, right? Content wise. So, with that being said, hit the thumbs up. The biggest green days are still ahead of us. The better markets, the better. I mean, imagine the overall market is tanking like how it is. This is why small caps are so great, right? The entire stock market has lost like 3 trillion, yet we have a stock in a small cap land of over 200% in a day. And honestly, this is the type of stock we see on a hot market day in a bull market. I'm honestly surprised that we're seeing. I mean, small caps are just truly spectacular. I mean, there's even on a day where you lose like this. I mean, you have to still admire the fact that a stock went from 10 to 20, or from, I mean, if you include the pre-market lows, let's say 450 to 22. Like, how is that possible on a day where the entire market is dumping, right? And even that is opportunity for someone like me. If you're about to retire, a 20% drop in the market is the last thing you need to see. But for a young guy like myself, a 20% drop in the market is lighting up my eyes because I can get invested at a discount. And my time horizon is so great, 40, 50, 60 years, that I don't care if it keeps going lower. I'll just keep buying and then I'll keep waiting, right? The stock market is the United States economy, the world economy, the global economy. If the global economy fails, money becomes irrelevant. It becomes like The Walking Dead, where people are scavenging, looting, robbing, all these terrible things, sadly, or even bartering, hopefully bartering, right? So if the market fails, money fails, the system fails, and that's not going to happen anytime soon because of some tariffs, right? So this is music to my ears. In fact, I'm hoping that 47 can double down on the tariffs so that the market can even keep going lower so I can just keep buying. Even if I have to take out loans to keep buying, I'm just gonna keep buying till I cannot buy anymore. Is this risky? Of course it is. It's all risky. Everything's risky. The moment we were born, it was risky. But risky is my middle name here. So We're in a great place, a great position. So far it's not been the year we would have wanted to this point, but it's not how you start, but how you finish. And we're gonna look to finish out, you know, the rest from this point on to the rest of the year. We're gonna keep locking in. We're gonna get more dialed, and we're gonna get better. We're gonna age well like fine wine throughout the rest of this quarter, throughout the rest of this front half of the year, and we're gonna dominate. And we're gonna have a spectacular year. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and remember, if you want to start your journey, if you who you watching right there behind the screen, if you want to start your journey and become part of the community, join the community, learn how to trade, you guys can check out my day trading program called Merciless Markets. This is all me right here, going over my strategy from zero to advance. From zero, someone walking off the street, to everything that I know. And for those of you who are looking to get involved, because tariffs are such a big, component to our economy and causing some pain, we're looking to utilize it in a good way. And, we're running a coupon code with it. Why not, right? So coupon code tariff will get you guys 40% off at checkout from Merciless Markets. The full package and the blueprint, right? I always recommend the full package because that way you get everything that comes with the program, including our library of archives, the A to Z course of, itself, our watch list, our game plans, our scanners, everything that we have to offer. Our archive library is mentioned, pretty big one there as well. The live streams, the Q&As, the live streams in the chat room has zero latency, real time, compared to the 3-4 seconds of delay on YouTube. And I don't show all my instruments that I'm using on YouTube, of course. The screen that I share to my students are like different from what I'm showing on YouTube, right? So we have rehab calls, coaching calls, etc. So you guys can feel free to check it out. You can check out the curriculum here, right? From zero to advance, very detailed because it includes everything. And whilst we do not guarantee success, what we do guarantee is transparency. Nothing in life is guaranteed, but what we are guaranteeing is that we're showing you everything we know, which is why we have so many profitable students, and we're lining up another round of success stories for next week. We're going to be doing at least 5 or 6 next week, Monday to Thursday. We're locking them in back to back to back to back to show off and showcase more of our students who have turned the corner. And guys, everybody who's turning the corner, they're turning the corner in style. Am I on the wrong screen? Oh, of course I am. Great. Just of course. Oh, I'm gonna go mad. Hold up. I'm gonna go mad. Oh, that is ridiculous that I'm on the wrong screen here. Should be one screen. I gotta just stick to this. That's why I should be using the screen at the bottom. But anyhow, I think that's twice in this video. To come over to the website again. Yeah, I can't. This video is too long to edit. Forget editing. We're just gonna go over it again. So nice. We're gonna go over it twice. Why not? Again, coupon code tariffs, 40% off. All the perks right here included. All the perks included. And it's very detailed. So, everyone who's turning the corner right now, all the students are turning the corner in style. We're creating millionaires here, literally. It's insane. So check it out. Check out the chat room as well. For those of you who want to be a part of the chat room, where the conversation continues after the live stream, you guys can always feel free. And shout out to Anthony, man. Shout out to Anthony, big time trader here at Anthony. Long time no see. Yeah, man. So, again, it's 7 p.m. People are still talking in here, still having a good time. So, shout out to the chat room. This is where it all goes down. And you guys can be a part of the chat room for very cheap, right? The chat room, the value that is here, it should be $50 minimum a month. It should be like $50 minimum. Instead, it's only $15. The prices may go up at some point, but for now, $15. And you can always check out the different channels, the different sections. The P&L section here will let you guys know how everyone in the community is doing. And we have some monsters in here again, which is why the value is so high. We had some bigger red trade days today, Zay small red. And keep in mind, different people are utilizing different size depending on where they are in their journey, right? So you have some people who are red. Lucas, one of the star students here, red today. Dash, star student as well, turned the corner recently. Kersey, you have the blue checks who are also verified traders, right? Big Steve, the Tex, and so forth. Marcelo had a bit of a rough day, but the might, you guys know good old Marcelo, so consistent, such a beast of trading. Save the monster. Guys, there's people, can you guys believe that there's people making 30, 40,000 in a day? It doesn't even seem real, right? But that's what's happening. Enzo, nicely done on the week. Save the monster. Look at this guy. So this guy made $106,000 on the week, which for most people is a great salary, right? This space is not a normal space. It's different. There's risk, but there's also reward. And again, Dash, one of the star students, added to his gains here. Nicely done. On fire. Absolute monster. Turning the corner in style. This is what I like to see from the students. Dash is also a moderator in the community here. Fun fact, I actually gave him the course for free because of all of his hard work helping me out over the years with the YouTube channel. And so, him, Big Steve, shout out to those guys, man. And they both turned the corner. Two of the best students here at Merciless Market. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Next time I'll do the recap on my main screen, so I'm not like, back and forth between everything. And I'll be looking straight into the camera. I think it's fine. I mean, it's okay. It's all right. Doesn't need to be perfect. 40-minute recap. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one.